Oh my goodness.
The Secret.
The Secret, How to Fight Child Protective Services and Win. I'm Cynthia Becker with attorney Vince Davis. Our next call is from Robert in California. Hi, Robert.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Do you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
I do both, actually. Me and my wife, we have a baby. She went through 30 hours of labor. She had a hard labor. They overdosed her on a magnesium. After the baby was born, they told us to go ahead and take a nap. We woke up. Her aunt works at the hospital that all this happened. So I go out to the car to get the bags. I come back in, and they escort me out with two security guards. They tell me I can't go back in the hospital. And then her aunt initiated the CPS call. So after the initiation, CPS got involved. We went home. She got discharged from the hospital. And about 5 days later, my wife had a stroke. Well, she had several strokes. So she was rushed to the hospital. She went into a coma. She had 2 brain surgeries. And so while this is going on, they thought that I had domestic violence with her. So they ended up arresting me. They went and took our son and put him in foster care. So while she's in a coma, I'm in jail. I got out of jail. Well, actually, I didn't. I was on probation, so I had a hold. I couldn't get out of jail. So the district attorney, after 60-something days, dismissed the case because they found out through the doctors that it was due to the pregnancy and the complications and all this other stuff. So she gets out of the hospital. I'm out of jail, and we're doing the CPS thing. And I've been listening to the radio station. It sounds like a lot of people have the same issues. I mean, they seem like they just lie, and it's just crazy. So we get a CPS worker. Well, her father used to date the CPS worker. And so they were taking, the court order gave us once a week visits for an hour. Well, since her father knew the CPS worker, she was bringing him over to her grandparents' house to visit with her and her family and stuff. And then they weren't even giving me visits because they said her aunt said I wasn't the father, so I had to go through paternity. So I couldn't even see my son for like almost 2 months. They finally got a DNA test. They found out I was the father, which I knew I was. I complained to CPS, the head CPS guy. He did an investigation. He found merit on the case that she was, because our case plan that she had wrote up, the CPS worker that her father knew, was just totally against us. So initially they said that, no, we can't switch your worker. But then after the investigation, they switched our worker. They got us new workers. We've been doing parenting classes. We've been doing drug testing, random drug testing. And I've been clean for almost 2 years now through probation. And all my probation officer was like, well, you've been clean for almost 2 years now. So I've been doing voluntary testing every week. We do, what else do we do? We just, every kind of hoop they want us to been jumping through, we've been jumping through.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did they ever prove that there was no domestic violence and that you weren't the cause of the strokes?
Yeah, the courts dismissed the case. Because it came back saying the doctor said it was due to the pregnancy for the 30 hours of strain and the magnesium overdose and all this other stuff.
So just to be clear,
they totally dismissed the whole case.
So the whole cause of your case started off by the allegations of the domestic violence, which has now been proven false. So technically, what you're saying is there's no other reason of why the case is open.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought. And then, so now we just went to court, or not too long ago, and they threw out due to the domestic violence, they took that out of whatever it is in the case plan or whatever, the lawyers went ahead and said, well, we're going to take this out of there because it's not, they found it, they found me not guilty. So when I get this new case plan from the CPS, and this is word for word, it says that justice was taken into protective custody after the mother was hospitalized due to medical complications that may have been a result of domestic violence, indicating between her and the father, in which the mother was the victim. The father was arrested due to the incident of domestic violence. They didn't mention anything about that it was exonerated. They didn't mention anything about any of it. They're just going off of what, I guess they said, well, the CPS worker says, well, don't worry about it. Well, in my eyes, that would look bad in front of a judge. So when they when they took all these allegations off the courts, they added 2 new allegations. And they said, it is a substantial risk of suffering serious physical harm and illness in that the father, Robert, has a history of violence towards others as evidenced by a conviction of great bodily injury after assaulting a prior partner. Now, I went down and got my police, anything I had from probation. I asked her, have I ever been convicted of this? And even my probation officer said, no, this is not right. And I said, well, why would my attorney submit this in the court? And the other allegation that they're going on is, I have a substance abuse problem for which he has failed or refused to rehabilitate, and which periodically impairs his judgment to abilitate to provide adequate care, supervision, or protection for a child. Now, these are the 2 allegations they just submitted in the courts, and my lawyer said, "Go ahead and submit it." He said, "Well, we'll give them this since they took the other ones out."
And you said that you've been clean for over 2 years, and you have a probation officer that tests you and knows all of this, correct?
Yeah. And I've even asked them. I asked my probation officer, "May I get all my tests to show that I've been clean since March 28th, 2019?" And she was like, "Well, I can't give it to you, but if CPS wants it, then I can send a copy over to them."
So, Robert, you didn't agree to this deal, did you?
This deal? No.
Yeah, right. So when is your trial?
I haven't even signed this case plan. I told him, no, there's no way I'm signing that. That's crazy.
When is your trial?
I don't know. My attorney, I don't even have any paperwork. I mean, my attorney's kind of like, he just seems like he's just going along with what everybody else is going along with.
Okay, so you have a homework assignment, Robert. You must be at court 8:30 a.m. on Monday. Get a copy of the last 2 minute orders.
Okay.
And then give me a call, 888-888-6582.
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of gathering up some money to actually have you represent me in this case, because it's too much, and it's just like every time I turn around, they got me doing something else, and I'm doing all this voluntarily. And since my wife's been home after we came home Friday, since she read this case, she's been to the hospital twice. She went back in. They had MRIs done both times. They're scared she's going to have another stroke. Mm-hmm. And it's just putting so much stress on her, all the stuff that they want her to do. And she's supposed to be rehabilitating. She's only been out 2 months.
Right.
Vince.
And we're doing OT and physical therapy and speech therapy, and it's just...
Hold on, Robert. Vince. He said he's doing things voluntarily. Do you agree with that?
I was, for drug testing. Yeah. They asked, would you be willing to do drug testing? I said, that's fine. I'll drug test whenever you want me to. I don't have a problem with that. But it's not a court order. But, I mean, I don't know the laws and the limitations on CPS. They seem like they're above the law.
Well, they're not. And, Robert, get the minute orders Monday morning and give me a call.
Okay.
And then call back into the show in a few weeks and give people an update on what's happened. Okay?
I will definitely do that.
I want to thank you for calling. I want to thank you for listening. We look forward to hearing from you in 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay, we have to take another break right now. This is The Secret, How to Fight Child Protective Services and Win. We'll be back with more calls, more stories, more questions.